In this video, I'm going to show you how to take this free resource and use it for your art practice to create vivid street drawings in your sketchbook. In the last video, I shared tons of amazing resources I believe all artists should know, and you guys loved it, so let's put one of them to use. Step 1, we're going to head to Google Earth and browse some destinations and places that capture our eye. Google Earth is an awesome free resource that allows you to explore any part of the world at the comfort of your device, and I'm excited to show you how I like to use it as an artist. While I'm browsing around, I'm starting to think about my intention for my sketchbook practice. Here are some mini goals that I set for today. I got some new pens that I'm really excited to test and use, which brings me to step number 2, pick a medium and lay out all the supplies on your table that you're excited to play with that day. This way you're focusing on creating and not digging around for stuff during the process. Step 3, open your sketchbook and begin. I took some time exploring different areas and I started off and landed in Luxembourg, Germany. Definitely took some time to pick, but I just started off with one that caught my eye, and I was also drawn to the color orange, and I broke into the blank page with those. It's been a little while since I practiced street sketching, so it's safe to say I was itching and craving to draw. I highly recommend setting up your laptop or iPad right in front of you so that you have the reference directly ahead. Create a comfortable space for yourself, that way you can just glance up and down and keep sketching. The goal is to make the process easy, comfortable, and enjoyable for yourself. Benefits of picking up a topic that you haven't done in a while. It's like a refresher for your eye. We all may have topics that we revert to and continue to draw over and over, but it's nice to try something different once in a while. And speaking of which, I started off with an orange color, which I don't normally do, and I used that for the building in the background. And then I grabbed a dark blue shade for the foreground and the buildings in the front to separate the two. Cross-hatching is such a meditative practice for me. I just get lost in the moment. But am I the only one who feels like it takes a few sketches to warm up and a few strokes, because I feel like your first sketch in your practice feels shaky but exciting? But I guess it makes sense because like in dance you have a warm up and you stretch your muscles, and this is the same for art. I also use the dark blue to symbolize and show the lamps on the street in the foreground. I've never really used two separate colors. I'm usually mixing things together and overlapping colors, so this was a nice little experiment. And then I cross-hatched away on the tree as well to separate it from the building in the back. When cross-hatching, focusing in one direction and slightly gradually moving it around helps a lot. And I mostly focused on the shadow areas to create these hatches as well. Then to create some movement and separation on the street, I overlapped the horizontal lines with the blue. First page is complete, and then I casually made my way over to France. I always like alternating some supplies, so this time I grabbed a fine liner marker. In the first page, I used the complementary color scheme, and in this one, I decided to try an analogous color scheme. And just a quick overview for anyone who is unfamiliar, complementary colors are colors that are opposite from each other on the color wheel. Those color combos are yellow and purple, green and red, and blue and orange. And analogous colors are colors that are beside one another on the color wheel. So I'm thinking to use some pinks and purples here. Sometimes while we're drawing, it's really easy to rush because you want to see some instant gratification of the sketch or the painting come together. But recently, I'm always reminding myself to slow down, and even in life, just take it easy. Slowly get to know the sketch, slowly develop your drawing, settle into the moment, and I think I was doing this more and more with all the sketches that I did that day. What I think was really successful with the sketch was framing the view with the purple pen and having that become part of the composition. And I'm really glad that I stuck with separating the colors and trying a new color scheme and just referring back to my intentions for the day. And although I set little goals, I'm always never afraid to go out of them. So I added some purple marker in the background, labeled the sketch of the destination, and it was complete. Alright, so before we proceed to the next virtual destination, I just want to show you guys the new prints that came in. I spent some time sorting them out and signing them. They came out so beautiful. Thank you for purchasing one if you already did. It also wouldn't be possible without our sponsors, Squarespace. With the help of this all-in-one platform, I'm able to display my shop as well as my portfolio. Building my website with Squarespace was super easy with their award-winning templates. With their user-friendly features, you just simply drag and drop and everything is all in one place. One of my favorite features to date is how mobile-friendly the templates are. Upon looking at some of the statistics, everyone entering my website is mostly coming from their mobile devices. Some of my urban sketches are also scanned and uploaded onto my website as well. And this lovely limited edition is live too. Give Squarespace a try to build your website. Go to squarespace.com for your free trial. And once you're ready to launch, head over to squarespace.com/JessCarp for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. For our next destination, we're going to be tackling some things with some fine liners. I really wanted to create little thumbnail sketches to try and practice some compositions and a new color palette I haven't tried before. I normally don't ever grab olive green and this little lavender color, and it paired really nicely with mint. Then I grabbed a purple pen and added the final little touches to it. This allowed me to create little definition, and I didn't spend too much time on the sketches because I just wanted to get rid of perfection and keep them as loose as possible. I decided to split the page up into a square format composition and then a little bit of a landscape beside it. Lately, I'm just really pulled to nature. I feel like I just want to hug a tree sometimes, but roaming around the streets virtually on my computer, I came across this beautiful view of the trees and the road and kind of practicing one-point perspective. I began with a fine liner here and then filled in some areas with the olive green for the trees. I basically assigned the colors to the shadows or the highlights and alternated between the markers and the gel pen to add some definition as well. And I feel like a slight touch of the gel pen really brought it together. Exploring Greece, I came across this beach scene and I think I really enjoyed the composition. It was a bit challenging to kind of put together in the sketchbook, but I think it was nice for me to tackle and assign different colors to get a nice atmospheric perspective going here. For this spread, I tried to keep the sketches loose, fun, and colorful. And I'm learning with each mark you can create expressive energy, especially when you add different colors. If you want a really nice challenge of drawing, try drawing some beach umbrellas. They just get you every time. Well, once I laid in some of the shadows, I added some crosshatches alternating with colors up at the top to create this little gradient. This was just a stylistic approach. And I always like to listen to what I feel during sketches, and it felt like I needed to add some dark green. Not sure why, but I think that I just trusted the feeling and went with it. I've always wanted to visit Portugal, so I just landed in Porto. And I was thinking to draw a big street scene with buildings, but I landed on this little home and I thought it was so cute and beautiful and really drew my eye in. So for this page, I really wanted to just create a classic black and white sketch with a fountain pen. There is just something so satisfying with inking for me. I love how it forces you to just be bold with every stroke because once you lay down in a line, you can't go back. But I think throughout the art journey, as we develop our taste and styles as artists, it's important to take note of the kind of supplies you really like and the styles you really enjoy, and pay close attention when you switch mediums, how it changes your style or maybe your way of drawing and approaching a sketch. Guys, I was having so much fun with this drawing. I really felt like I developed a groove and I really enjoyed the composition. I think it was overall a very successful little drawing. And yeah, I think there's just something special about a classic black and white sketch. Felt like it took those two spreads to really get in a groove, but I enjoyed the pink analogous color scheme. So let's revisit that with this last sketch filling up both pages. I landed over in Kenya, and I like this corner view, and I think I'm going to practice some 2-point perspective with this one. Let's give it a go. When I'm starting the sketch, I'm just laying out these little dots, as you can see, to kind of visualize the drawing on the page, and then I just go right in. I trust the process, and I started with this middle section so that it can be my starting point. This way I can reference everything following that. When we're in Google Earth or Google Street View, there's actually a little bit of distortion that we can apply to our drawings and make it look a little bit more stylized as well. There were definitely a lot of elements in this view, some background buildings, some foreground trees, two streets kind of going out in two separate directions. But regardless, it was really fun to draw, and I just enjoyed these little trees, the textured leaves. I always encourage and recommend to put your own personality and style into your crosshatches. Line variety is a whole beautiful language of its own. As the sketch was coming together, I really felt like I wanted to begin adding some deep purples for the shadows. So looking at the reference, I focused on the darkest of darks and began to add them to the sketch. Then to play around with some more texture, I added a minty colored pencil to define some of the clouds. Just a subtle little addition, and then it was complete. After I finish my experimental sketchbook sessions, I always like to take a moment and look back at all the sketches I did that day and take a moment to assess. I definitely had a lot of fun today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it also inspires you to try out some street sketches, so if you do try that out, tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you guys create. Huge shout out to my lovely patrons. Thank you all so much for your support. Definitely check out the video on the screen to learn more art resources you can apply to your creative process. Stay creative, guys, have fun, and do it all with love. See you next time.